Well, hey, it's Rob, and I thought I'd share a few fun stories about working with the mighty Shaq. Everyone has a good story when they've worked with him. He's just a fun, personable guy. He's a good sport. He will do anything that is asked of him within reason, but only once. So I tell people if they haven't worked with him before, like, just make sure you're all set up to get it because he'll do it, but it's only going to happen one time. And then if you ask him to do it again, he's going to say, I already did it. Anyway, so I've worked with Shaq as a sound engineer at least 10 times, I want to say. I could probably run him down real quick. I worked on the movie Uncle Drew as a boom operator for a few weeks. Shaq was in that, of course. Fun movie if you haven't seen it. I think the first thing I did some of the general insurance company videos with him. Worked on a thing called Dunk King, a basketball competition with him, his own show, Shaq Life. I did an episode of sneaker shopping you can see on YouTube where he buys some sneakers for some kids and talks about sneakers. I know there's more stuff. Oh, Turner, I've worked with him a couple times. Over at Turner, did a documentary just recently on the Inside the NBA show with Shaq. So a few different times, probably something I'm even forgetting. I've bumped into Shaq a bunch of times over the years working in sound in Atlanta. Everyone does. He works on so many different projects. Oh, I did a donut eating contest with him. That's a funny story. So I got hired to do this donut eating contest from some like sports betting company. I think they were from overseas. And it happened to be, we were filming him during, he did this Shaq Diesel Carnival where he had music and rides, events and stuff. He did it for a couple of years in Atlanta. Anyway, so we, found him there and, we had been, of course, gotten permission to film some little spot with him when he's like having a donut eating contest for the sports betting company. And he had a million things going on. He wasn't having it. We set up the camera. We could see he was annoyed and, very quickly try to, plug everything in and get everything going. And, the producer came up to him and introduced himself, said, hey, you've agreed to do this, real quick bit for us or whatever. And he said, you have 1 minute. And then he took a look at me, yours truly. He said, oh, he goes, that's my guy. That's my sound guy. He goes, you guys are okay, So after that, we were able to maybe get 4 or 5 minutes with him. The donut eating contest, here you go. I'll imitate that. He's eating a donut. He just puts it on the ground. 2. He didn't even take a bite. Anyway, Shaq is a character. The first time I had to put a microphone on him, he started to hug me. He's a huge guy, so it's like he's giving me a big bear hug. I'm up in there trying to put this microphone on him. I can't even reach it. And then he stole my wallet. That's another thing that Shaq was famous for doing. Reach around, your back pocket, take your wallet, and walk away. And you just see Shaq walking away with your wallet. You're like, I guess he has my wallet now. I don't know. When I worked on Uncle Drew, the basketball movie, the director said he was, well known for taking the wallets. The director said, do you just have like a bowl of wallets at home? Anyway, so I just can imagine a bowl of wallets. Candy's better. Anyway, after COVID, he kind of cut all that kind of personal contact stuff out. So I didn't see that after, 2021, 2022 or so, but it was a lot of fun. Some other funny stories. Uncle Drew, we had to do a scene where he was wearing a hospital gown. The director kept pulling the gown open so you can see more of his backside. And in the movie, you can see a good portion of it. Kept opening the hospital gown, exposing more of him. And then when we finally finished the scene, Shaq just took all the gown right off, and he's just standing there naked in front of, half the film crew. I mean, he's so used to it in the locker room or whatever. Anyway, he's a great guy. A lot of fun. Hope to see him again someday. He, if you don't know much about his background, he has his hand in so many different things. He's, a franchise owner of like 155 Guys restaurants. He owns Krispy Kreme. I know he was helping build some new housing units for low-income people in like New Jersey. I mean, you name it. He's got so much going on. He makes the Shaq shoes for Walmart. He's told that story many times where someone came up to him and said, you know, you can't afford $250 shoes with sporting figures on them. So he made these Shaq shoes for $20 and they've sold like 100 million pairs of Shaq shoes. He's got so much stuff going on you wouldn't just have any idea. But he's just a great businessman. He partners with a lot of people, does a lot of great things for a lot of people. When I worked on a show with him, Shaq Life, his show, I think a cousin of his had died of cancer or something, and someone down the street from a neighbor he didn't know made him this like memorial quilt or something. So he went and knocked on this lady's door, and there's Shaq standing there. She almost passed out. So he's a good guy. The other story I remember real quick is he was in the jewelry store, and this young kid said, "I'm trying to buy my fiance a wedding ring or whatever. These are expensive." And he was looking at one, and Shaq just pulled out his credit card and said, "Here you go," bought the ring. And then Shaq goes home, and like a week later, his gardener knocks on the door and says, "That was a wonderful thing you did, Shaq." He said, "Well, what did I do?" He said, "That was my son in the store trying to buy a ring for his daughter." Shaq didn't even know when he bought the wedding ring for the gardener's son, I guess. Anyway, bunch of fun stories with Shaq. He's a good guy, lots of fun, and that's what I got for you. Later.